Last Dance is a 10-part docu-series based on the final championship season of Michael Jordan's Bulls, the last of the second three-peat. And it's a pretty good docu-series and definitely a must-watch for all fans of the GOAT, Michael Jordan. The series, it's 10 parts. Each episode is about an hour long. It's currently available on Netflix. It's pretty good. The main thing, or my main complaint with it, is that it's actually too long. It does indeed feel like the entire docu-series could have been done in probably, let's say, 6 episodes. That way, the main focus of each episode would be one of the 6 championships that Michael Jordan won, with the filler being flashbacks from when he was in college to his early years in basketball, and throughout his career up until the point he retired at the end of the second three-peat. I did feel that the 10 episodes was too long, and a lot of it was just filler added in. They do a pretty good job of using the filler to basically tell kind of the stories of Scottie Pippen, Dennis Rodman, and a couple of the other characters. Steve Kerr is in there, along with some of the players that Michael Jordan had on his first three-peat and then on his second three-peat. And then also kind of there's John Sally talking about the Detroit Pistons, so it kind of focuses a little bit on them and such. So it really just kind of envelops the entirety of Michael Jordan's career, his biggest adversaries, and his biggest motivations for wanting to get to the next level. And then once he finally does get to the next level, he doesn't relent it, and he just basically goes on a tear for 6 years specifically, if you don't count the 18 months he didn't play. But man, either way, Michael Jordan, from the moment he won his first championship until the moment he won his last one, he pretty much dominated the court, front and in, both sides, offense, defense. The LeBron James ain't got nothing on him. I don't care what you say, outside of LeBron just being an HGH, testosterone-fueled human, 6'6", 50 pounds, versus Michael Jordan at 6'6", maximum 210 pounds of straight muscle. You can definitely look at one and tell he's probably natural. The other's probably not natural. So you can add that to the GOAT debate, so to speak. But my money's on Michael all the way. Really what the series does is it focuses in on kind of his internal motivations. And one of the things that Michael said right before it came out is that you'll watch it and you'll hate him. I did, and I watched it, and I actually loved him more for it, because you realize that he was probably the most determined person, whose self-confidence was so high and the pressure he put on himself was so high that if he didn't achieve, he would have literally killed himself overexerting himself on the court if it came to it. It does even talks about the flu game and the true story behind it when he was out in Utah and what kind of happened there. My biggest thing about that is because the series is too long, it's spread over the 10 episodes, so there is a lot of filler. You basically kind of have one episode that each focuses on the championships as the main storyline, with kind of the filler being flashing back here and there as it ties back in. You'll have the first championship and it'll be tied into the second championship, along with the footage that's being recorded throughout their last year together, Phil Jackson's last year, and kind of all of the problems that they were having with the GM and kind of the owner being just, he's there, but he's not really involved in it. He's like, I'll let my GM do this. He got the team together. I trust him. And you can really tell that there was some internal strife that basically made the last year, or the last championship and the second three-peat, it was basically the end of an era. At that point, you could no longer keep a team filled with, to use the term superstars may be a little premature in terms of how the NBA is, but these are all players that are just incredible at their positions and probably some of the best people to play their positions. But they didn't get that superstar hype that you got, like when LeBron James said he was going to take his talents down to South Beach, hook up with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and really just kind of create a super team, which in my opinion is bullshit. LeBron couldn't win one himself, so he had to go and find it. He even tried to bring Shaq up to Cleveland, didn't work. But Michael Jordan showed that if you can't win it for your own people, who are you going to win it for? And Michael won it for Chicago 6 times. He said he was going to do it, and he did it. And like I said, I can ramble on a little bit more about it, but it's a very good series. The only thing I would say is it does wear a little bit because it is 10 episodes, so it's approximately 10 hours or so of content, and it does a little bit because it recycles some things. So you'll hear a little bit of Rodman's story when he comes in, like in episode 3 and 4, and then it'll kick back around and pick up some more on episodes 7 and 8. Once it's actually getting into the final three-peat versus the first three-peat, because Rodman, of course, was with the Pistons at the time, and they were basically just playing hack-a-shack with the Bulls at the time, just beating them up. Their whole game plan was like, Mike's going to get his points. We know that. So what we need to do is we just need to beat the shit out of Mike. That way he gets 30 and sets the fuck down because he's beat up. Instead of he gets 30, we try to beat on him. He comes out and scores 10 more in the last 3 minutes and then ends up beating our ass. But either way, I mean, it's still a pretty good series. My biggest point on not recommending it is because it is so long, so it is quite an event to sit there and get through all of the episodes, because a lot of it you can just kind of fast forward or skip or let it go in the background, but you really get a good insight in terms of Michael Jordan's mind, the competitiveness of it, and you don't want to say he's a degenerate gambler, but man, he is just as close as you can be to that without actually like falling down the path or the dark path that comes with gambling and stuff. I mean, you know, if Michael wasn't such a winner, then he'd probably have a problem. But I mean, like, man, he would gamble on if you're gonna have a race to see who can, you know, piss the furthest or run the fastest to the door. Michael's gonna bet you on that, and I mean, it makes sense because in a room he's probably the most competitive person, and he's probably the guy with the biggest ego, and probably the only person in the room that can actually back it up when you get down to brass tacks. But other than that, it's a pretty good series. If you got a chance, give it a watch. It's over on Netflix right now. And thank you. Feel free to like, subscribe, share, and have a good day.